So, take two. You're okay with being recorded, correct?
Yes,
Cool.
absolutely.
So, holy shit, I'm back. But you welcome to a conversation with Himpleton. You ready?
Yeah,
You
I'm
got
ready.
a lot to you got so I'm just gonna jump right into this. Why the fuck did you do 10 plus calls with Jar?
Okay, so that's a great question. Um, wow. No, I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I'm very happy with the way that you did this, but I just was not expecting it at all because, like, nobody's ever been that direct. They're usually very pussyfooty about, like, oh, well, how did you get started? Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so basically, it started out with me wanting to correct, Jar. And I don't know, did you watch the Cinny Bear video that he made?
I'll be real with you, I've watched everything. So when it
Okay,
came to the
cool.
Jar situation, I know all sides. I saw all sides of the drama, from Diesel's to your gay off stuff to Chuds to all that stuff. So yeah,
Cool.
I'm pretty up to
Cool,
date
cool.
on it.
And so, like, originally, his video, he had that thing where he said, like, put pineapple soda if you want to, like, challenge me. So I made a tweet that used the hashtag. And fun fact, it was only me and one other person. And it's mostly because for the tweet, for the hashtag, he misspelled pineapple soda, which is just awesome.
Oh god, that's of
I just thought that was
course.
awesome. But so I did that tag, and what ended up happening though, he didn't even respond to that tweet. I actually ended up getting his Discord user, and from there, just messaging him. So I message him, and we end up talking, and my primary directive was to really correct some misinformation. I mean, since you've seen everything, you've definitely seen my first call with him.
Actually, that's the one thing I didn't see. And the only reason why I
Okay.
say that is because I can't fucking stand Jar's voice.
Oh, fair.
And so
Fair
the
enough.
fact that you were able to do 10 calls with him, more power to you, but like maybe the first call would have been enough. But after a while,
Well, so
it like it
things
was...
things
Go ahead.
the reasoning changed as we went along, but I'll explain that in a second. So basically, in this first call, I got him to I've later been told by people like Lio Convoy that apparently he just will say whatever to, kind of be in people's good graces. So
Yeah, I mean,
supposedly this wasn't very.
if you watch Chud's interview with him, or
Yeah,
the
no,
Cope
I
and
have.
See the video with him, like yeah, he is definitely like tail between my legs when anybody presses me type of person.
But so he basically, I either convinced him or he decided to capitulate in the moment to me talking about how Cinny is a groomer because of evidence that both he and Kumo had not reviewed in terms of all of the logs. And further in terms of her conduct with No, in terms of getting her to draw several images from.
You're fine. I do know about that.
Okay, got it.
I
So
don't want to get into
all
great
happened.
detail of like, look.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I'm just making
Let's be
sure I
clear.
give context here.
Cinny is a groomer. For anybody who's
Yes.
questioning, Cinny is a groomer. 100%
Yes.
done. There should be no question about it, no debate, no nothing. And the fact that
So-
Jar even was defending is wild.
And so he capitulated to that and acted very surprised with that new information. And from there, I had heard a couple of other things about him, and so I inquired on those. And we went from there. Now, the other calls, as it kept on going, I very slowly had kind of an evolution here. Because originally it was correcting the Cinny stuff. Then it was, okay, well, maybe there's like some stuff in here that like he's gonna slip up about that is not great, because it's when he started getting canceled and
So
he was
that's when I
trying.
went to gay ops.
Yeah, and he was trying
Got
to
it.
act like he was being very transparent, and so I was like, okay, sure, Sure. Let's see if we can get anything. But then things shifted again. And this was
Okay.
the kind of final shift and where the majority of the phone calls happened. And this shift was really just me realizing, like, okay, honestly, I think the most interesting way to approach this would be from a neutral perspective and really just get his take on all of this, including his take on a lot of his past drama, because he is somebody who has gone through quite a lot of drama on all sides of things. And what would be interesting to me, this was my thought at the time, would be to do a kind of June the King retrospective and kind of neutrally look at his dramas, but get the interview with him where he kind of explains and talks about all of the dramas that he's been through, so that afterwards I can interview everybody else involved and have a more holistic picture.
How did that go?
I mean, so the thing is, it got bogged down by the gay op stuff.
By you accidentally
like,
saying on a screen on a
Yes.
live stream about the
Yes.
gay ops. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so like my whole thing was like I didn't want to in any public sense admit that it ever was a gay op at any point, even if it wasn't anymore, because I wanted to still be able to have that contact with Jar. And so unfortunately, I like prioritized that over my reputation in that case. But you know, you live and you learn. And you know, I'm at the point where I'm not even making this video anymore. So
okay, so I have a question, and this is an allegation that had got brought up a lot after that.
Sure. Yep.
Did you or did you not have Jar fall asleep with you on call? Did you or did you not have sleep calls with Jar?
No.
Okay.
So in the second call, he did ask. He did almost bring it up, but he didn't directly ask it. He just almost brought it up.
If you release anything from any of the other calls, please drop that. That's the only part. Please drop like on Twitter with just saying this is what happens when Jar asks for a sleep call, just like your situation like with him alluding to it, and then like how you reacted to it, like you ignoring it, because stuff like that is going to further like show your side, which the problem is you've done a lot of reaction but not showing your side of the story, which is why I'm glad there's this here, because I'm definitely 100% neutral. I've never watched a single video of yours, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I've only watched the content on you. I watched the content on you as it got created this month, only because, you know, coming back into the commentary space and all of a sudden you were the news. And I did not reach out to our mutual contact to get in contact with you. I actually didn't know you guys were friendly at all. And in fact, that's the funniest part, is this is surely because of a power of another person, and I'm not going to say their name now, but I will link them in the description to as a thank you for getting me this contact. I think that's fair. Okay, so second part. Now, why did you write like a 2,000 word essay to Chud Logic as a response to finding out about the whole gay off stuff? Why didn't you just call in? Like, that would take taken less time, and you probably would have gotten the shame that you deserved. The deserved shame, and it probably would have gotten left alone. We wouldn't be talking about this right now if you had decided to use your words and speak to Chud instead of sending him a message that was, "Boy, you need to read before you send things." Just saying.
Oh, I know.
You need to proofread yourself.
We'll get into this in a second, but like, and I'm very careful about the way I talk about this. I had an interview actually the other day, where I am very, very specific about this. But like, I am somebody who I'm being very careful about the way I put it, because I don't want people to misconstrue it as some kind of excuse. But I was in and I just want to emphasize before I say this,
Mm-hmm.
I do not think of this in any way as like something that in any way discredits my retarded behavior. This is literally just like an explanation for when some of this stuff is kind of more confusing. So like I was having like an extended fucking like mental health not great time.
Oh,
Like I
absolutely.
was
Like
acting like
people
a
spend.
fucking retard, okay, during
Oh
a lot
yeah.
of this. So what happened with the Chud thing is I was literally told by a former friend of mine to not call in and that it would be worse if I called in. And I I think if that person had known that I was going to type this schizophrenic paragraph, he would have told me to just call in, but he did not know that. So instead I just typed up that schizophrenic ass paragraph and you know,
Paragraphs, plural. If for people
paragraphs.
who
True, true, true,
haven't
true.
seen it.
True, true. Yeah, I think it's like 2 or 3. Um, and yeah, yeah, just like came off completely schizophrenically.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
I was just like, maybe next time if you're going to write out something that long, maybe send it to a third party, like someone more neutral to like proofread for you if you're not gonna proofread for yourself. If you feel crazy,
when
find a friend's DMs, type the crazy into their DMs, somebody who you trust, and have them reword your crazy into actual viable sentences if you're not going to show up on a stream about it yourself.
this is probably not how it actually was, but at the time it just felt like it was all happening extremely suddenly.
I
And kind of like the walls were
absolutely,
closing in a little bit. So like
you know, I will tell you this, I've been there 5 years ago.
yeah, and so because of that, like I was just like making really retarded errors and just like, kind of floundering, to be honest. Yeah.
You ready for the next one? Because like I
Oh
have
yeah.
I have your best hits from the last couple of months just like written down
Great.
drama.
Great.
So
Great.
you somehow and I know this kind of goes into the Mama Max stuff, but not really. You kind of alluding to being Lyrics' co-host.
So that okay, let me be very clear. That is not something I alluded to. That is something I directly said.
Okay, sorry. I wanted to at least you're coming out and saying it. I wanted to give you the benefit of the doubt that maybe because I didn't actually hear you say it, I've just heard everyone else say that you said it.
Nope, I said it
So
multiple times.
okay, absolutely then. So you
And
said you were
so
Lyrics' co-host when
okay, and so the this is what I preface this with saying usually. So the actual explanation to this is like far more pathetic than actually lying. And that's kind of how, at least with some people, I've been like, let's say, I'm telling the truth because this is so bad. But like, okay. So starting out with the Mama Max stuff, I knew quite a lot about it. And
absolutely, you've made 2 videos, but we're just gonna do a TLDR on what you knew.
Well, and no, we don't even need to go into what I know because
Good.
what's important is that I knew a lot. Lyrics did not know a ton. And so I would, send him donos to get to call in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, eventually, this evolved into me being in Lyrics' call-in server. And I would help him with several dockets. I helped him set up the Plague Moth stuff. I helped him with some of the Wilbur Soot stuff. I helped him with
I'll be real with you. I think I only started watching Lyrics right before your drama started like actually happening. So I'm very lost, and like
that's fine.
This is how lost I am. Until like yesterday, I still only thought of Wilbur Soot as like, oh yeah, he did like he did the Minecraft stuff, but like I remember him from Soot House because get old. So like 2017 2019 was like my golden era of like watching stuff on YouTube. So like Soot House is what I remember Wilbur from. So like when everyone's like, oh, all this drama and stuff and things, I'm like, I do not care about that guy. That's like the fact that he was funny with his friends.
And that's all fine. My only point is that I helped him with some other stuff. And that was between January and March.
Okay.
And during that time, I had like a parasocial thing where I genuinely thought that we were closer than we were. And I also thought that I was one of, now emphasis on one of, the co-hosts. Um, I knew I wasn't Smaggle. Smaggle was the main co-host, but I thought that because I could, call in whenever I wanted and I was in the server, I thought of myself as a co-host. And um, then I went, and this is very public, so like I don't care about talking about it, but then I went to a rehab/trauma facility. Some people have tried to say that I'm lying about it because I've told some people that it's a trauma facility, told some people it's a rehab facility. It's both, shockingly enough. And so I went there for 2 months, and when I came back, well, so before I left, I told Lyrics that I was leaving, and he, just trying to be polite, I recognize that now, but he, just trying to be polite, was like, dude, we're gonna miss you on the streams, like, you were such a great presence on there, blah, 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 blah. And like kind of alluding that like when I get back, everything will be back the way it was. Now, I took this way too seriously.
Yeah.
And spent those 2 months being like, oh shit, I can't wait to come back and like fucking be even more involved with like Lyrics' streams and stuff. And I came back and he had pretty much figured out how to do things solo, which is great for him. Like, I mean, that's how it should be. And so because of that, just like I took it really hard and I took it really personally because I had this like parasocial attachment to him. But yeah, all of that is just to say I thought I was a co-host.
That's
and
fair.
so when I was saying that, it wasn't me lying, it was literally me being a parasocial freak. Now at this point, I know I was never a co-host. So,
don't worry. I'm gonna say something, and this will probably get clipped for Augie to react to. I was your co-host, and I still have proof from our DMs from 2019 because he claims that after drama happened with me, he claimed that I wasn't a co-host, but I literally have him telling me to get NVC, asking me stuff. But that's the thing, is that like I would say that I was a guest co-host for a chunk of time on Augie streams, and he didn't need me there. Sure, yeah, I was a source of information and entertainment, but I wasn't needed. That man could have done that all by himself without me or Bo Blacks. But like that's the thing, is that like at the time you felt like you were needed because you were doing all this research. So you thought you were more important to Lyrics than Lyrics thought you were to him.
Well, and like I never there's one thing that I have that's like supported by some DMs that I exchanged with this guy who no longer likes me at all. But like I never the way that people think of co-host is kind of different than like when I've always thought of a co-host as somebody who just like is able to call in whenever and is like welcome in the fucking lives. And so I have like a DM with somebody who I'm not going to name because it's just going to get messy for no reason. But like this guy who I was friends with at the time, who I directly called a co-host, even though he only called in to like 3 or 4 of my streams. And so like the whole co-host thing to me wasn't necessarily like this like title, this like formal title of like, oh, you were needed. It's just like, dude, like I was able to hang out whenever the fuck I wanted on Lyrics' streams.
Yeah,
and like,
absolutely.
That's what I thought of as co-host.
So speaking of your working relationships with people, how about the fact that you worked for Toastify for 4 months, but apparently only worked really slowly when it came to getting him information? Like I said, I'm going through your greatest hits, so there's going to be stuff that you're not expecting me to bring up that other people have been avoiding.
No, fair enough. I guess what I would ask there is, when you say that about very slowly, is that something Toastify himself said?
Yes, that is something Toastify himself said on his stream about you. He said that in the time that you worked for him, very slowly. You did 12-hour live streams. You were very slow at getting him information.
Okay, that's actually that's a very fair point, actually.
And
these are very fair points.
Only got enough information for at the time of the video that of the live stream I was watching of his last night. he had only used the information from one of the videos that he had done at the time. So that was like a month ago.
I think that is true. However, the difference is there's at least one or two. I don't directly quote me on that because I can't fully remember, but one or two other videos that I helped him work on that either are never seeing the light of the day or just haven't yet.
Very fair. I
That
want to
being
get your
said,
side of that because like I feel like no one's actually talked to you about your time working with Toastify. Everyone's just been like, oh yeah, he scammed Toastify by working him for 4 months
which is
and
not
only
true.
getting enough information for one video. That's been a statement that I heard, which is why I went and looked up Toastify's live stream. Now I haven't passed the Toastify. I have no problems with him now. That was 5 years ago. Not my issue.
He's a fine guy. Here's the thing about that. So, and I think Toastify himself would say this. Did I work very slowly? Yes. Was I probably not a great worker because of that? Yes. However, what I will say is that I never ever scammed him. I was billed by my hours that I very closely monitored. I was only charging him for hours in which I was doing work. And when I say hours, I mean like I would do this tallying by the minutes. Like there's one thing that there's a rumor that's not even really a rumor that someone brought up where they were like, oh, Himpleton would just sit there in
I heard
VC.
about that.
Yeah, he would just sit there in VC and like not do any work, but he'd supposed to be working on the Toastify stuff. And the big question was I billing when I was doing that? No, I was not. The only time I was ever billing was when I was actually doing work. And when I would kind of be done with those like small breaks and like fraternizing with people, I would take however much time to do some work. And then I would factor that in. I would be like, okay, so I goofed around for like 45 minutes and I did work for 15. So that's 15 minutes of work. And so like, I never scammed Toastify. And further, the other thing that is usually alleged on this is that a guy named Romeo supposedly acted like he did some of my research for Toastify for free.
I didn't know this.
And yeah, so that was an allegation made, I think, on a Chud Logic stream. And so, but I do want to say as well, on the Flatly stream that I am in, that Morale is also in, and all that stuff happens, I correct the record, and Romeo calls in and himself corrects the record, and makes it known that that is not true. That I did have Romeo research stuff for free, but it was completely optional, 1, and 2, none of it was for the Toastify stuff.
Okay, well, that's good. I also realized that even though I spent like, what is it, like 5 hours doing research, there was so much on you that there are so many live streams that either were up or put unlisted afterwards that like, and stuff that just didn't come up when I was searching for you. And I was trying to allude to as few people as possible that I was going to be speaking to you. I did. There is something that I will tell you, but that will come up very soon, where a couple people do know now, other than the small people of our group. But I was very honest, because so one thing, the next thing, Romantic Goblin. Why were you involved? Spurgalicious
Why was
person.
I what?
Why were you involved with her at all? Like friendship, otherwise? Like what was her involvement with you?
Yeah.
Let's get that part started first.
I was friends with her. She would help me in terms of kind of providing me links with different stuff that I was researching, especially when it came to the art community, especially when it came to people like Lio and stuff like that. So that was kind of our main like line of friendship. She ended up talking to me about some personal stuff that obviously I'm not going to get into because I don't believe in doing that.
I don't care about other people's personal issues, only when you put your own personal issues out publicly.
Yep. Nope. I agree. And in that case, she was not putting them out publicly. But either way, so yeah, that was kind of the extent of what we had going on.
So you do understand that she clearly like backstabbed you by screenshotting your DMs with her.
I mean, Goblin and I don't
Saying,
like. I want to make it clear, Goblin and I don't talk anymore. First of
well,
all,
yeah, but I mean, it was when you said about it was when Beckett and Xylee like confronted you about Goblin and were recommending like you maybe don't have Goblin a part of your server and stuff like that, and you took it very much like the Cabal is after me, which I think
well.
I
Okay,
don't
wait.
care. I don't care. I don't care about who's used the term Cabal. I was just using it as a meme here.
I understand. Let's just be very clear here, though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because my interpretation was actually different. And that is what I say this.
Absolutely.
I've said this on many interviews, and I'll say it again. This was by far the worst thing that I have done, in my opinion. So this, basically, I was in mutual agreement with Beckett and Xylee that entire time.
Mm-hmm.
I actually, funnily enough, brought up something that one of my friends at the time told me that Goblin was doing behind my back. And that rubbed me the wrong way. But until Beckett and Xylee had talked about the other stuff, I was still uncertain about what I wanted to do. But I came to that decision by myself and decided that I was going to kick Goblin out of the server. And part of that was, yes, that they had advised me to do it. But it was in no way like some sort of Cabal thing.
But you realize that the wording on how you explained it to her.
So that's exactly what I'm about to go into that. So what I did was I was genuinely concerned for her health because of what I had just talked about earlier with her personal issues. And she was schizoing the fuck out, to be completely honest. And I was pretty concerned for her safety. And being a retard and a bit of a pussy in this situation, I was like, oh, well, you know, I don't want her to think that I hate her. So instead of just being upfront and being like, hey, I don't hate you at all, but like, you're a liability, like I can't do this, I decided to be sneaky about it and honest and like lie and throw Beckett and Xylee under the bus. And what I thought would happen at the time is that because I didn't mention Beckett or Xylee's names and the stream was already private, or not private, members only, that it wouldn't come back around to them, and that I could just be like, oh yeah, these streamers like told me that like bad things would happen if I didn't drop you, blah blah blah, because I didn't want her to have like a fucking meltdown. Now, either way, even if that was my intention, is it still a lie? Yes. Is it still retarded? Yes. But like that was my thinking at the time, and
I think
retrospectively, I would have just been like, yo, dude, you're a liability. I don't hate you, but like I'm kicking you out. There you go. The end.
Or you could have just kicked her and not like, if you're not going to be friends with her, like there, and like this is going to be a hot take, right? Who cares if she's going through personal shit? Are you going to be able to fix it from across the screen?
No.
Then why are you letting it affect you, your life, your money, your everything?
Because I was in a much more parasocial mindset at that point.
Okay, cool. Now, that being said, this is our first conversation we've ever had in VC, and until today, I was potentially convinced that you weren't actually you. Because when I initially got added to that group chat, you didn't have a profile picture.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So, as a side note, the copy-paste apology, man. You pasted an apology to Beckett, and instead of writing out a different one to send to Xylee, you the next day, and I know it's the next day because I actually talked with Xylee and Beckett last night.
Mm-hmm.
The next day, after Xylee had already seen Beckett's apology from you, you copied and pasted and sent her the same apology. I honestly think
that's awesome.
You, and I'm going to turn off my webcam for this right now. Xylee deserves a real apology.
I mean, if she would be open to hearing from me, then I absolutely would give her one.
Even a short one now would be like saying like, you are sorry is better than, and that's part of the reason why I removed myself from this situation. So if she just wants to clip this part, as a whole if she doesn't decide she wants, because neither of them hate you. I hope you understand
Well,
that. She doesn't trust you, but she doesn't hate you.
I mean, fair enough. I mean, look, here's my thing. I've said this multiple times, and I will say it once again, very, very clearly, right at the camera. I completely understand why both Xylee and Beckett, like, were angry at what I did, got pissed off, and got upset. I also, like, you heard me just earlier. I
Yeah.
just said that it was the worst thing that I did. It was really fucking stupid. And yeah, I'm genuinely sorry for it. Like like it was snaky, it was retarded, it was like, you know, everything about it was stupid. And particularly to Xylee, like I couldn't even make the fucking effort of making a genuine apology, and I'm sorry for that. I really am. I'm really just laughing at it about it because of how retarded I am and like how retarded that situation was.
That is completely understandable.
But yeah, no, I do also want to make it clear, because I've said this on other interviews, but I just want to make it like exceedingly clear that like when I called Xylee an old hag witch on Twitter, like in direct response to her, and then was replying to stuff and saying like Xylee gets fake, Xylee gets scared, like I'm obviously fucking joking and like being super hyperbolic. I obviously that's up to your interpretation, and I understand that people are going to factor in the fact that like I'm the liar, I'm the big scary liar, but like that is, I think if anybody with an objective sense reads those tweets, they're going to know that I don't like fucking hate this person. Like I'm just messing around.
Yeah.
Right.
Cool. I felt like of anything that was, look, I like Xylee. Xylee was honestly a part of the reason why I came back into actually watching the commentary community, because somebody linked me one of her videos after I had been like kind of slowly peeking back in, and it kind of got me back into just watching the community. And whereas you're going to be credited, no matter how good or bad this video is received, as being the reason I either came back and made videos again, or the reason why I quit making videos entirely on YouTube. And now I'm sorry for that.
Wahoo.
You're not going to be blamed. If anything, I'll get blamed for myself. Are you ready? Because I'm like almost halfway through this. I'm like at the halfway mark, and we're at the woman drama. Yeah, between you and Furrin and Darcy. Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck if he like e-bagged a bunch of people. Who cares? That's his problem. I don't know him. I don't know any of you. I just exist. I'm just a popcorn eater when it comes to this community, usually. But how did you feel seeing all the spurgy messages that he was sending to Darcy when he clearly knew that you had like a thing for her, I guess, at the time?
It is what it is, man. It's the internet. Like I mean, like I think the thing that people like overblow way too much about this is like this like insane investment I had in her. Like she made it clear to me that she was not into me, and after that, I took the fucking hint. Yeah,
you took the L and walked away. Cool. That's basically.
Well, I didn't walk away. Like we did stay like good friends for a long period of time.
That's not what I meant. I meant like emotionally. You know, like when you.
I know.
Like
I just don't want it to seem like. I just don't want it to seem like in any situation that somebody can like interpret it as me lying. I'm just very careful about that.
Perfect. Speaking of, look, how you got on my radar as like an even human being is about the next thing I'm bringing up, which is this.
Great. Let's go for it. Awesome.
The call. For one, he was blackmailing you about Moreau, right? About the shit you said about Moreau.
Yes. Yes, that was primarily what it was.
Okay. So I have a very direct question. Why didn't you just grow some balls and tweet out the shit that he was threatening to tweet out, so it took away his chance of even having blackmail the moment he threatened it?
Yep. 100%. And so it was two reasons. First of all,
you didn't think about it at the time, probably?
Well, I guess there's three reasons. So I didn't think of it at the time. Secondly, it was right in between, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think it was right in between the goblin stuff and then everything else blowing up. And so
Yes.
because of that, I thought that there was a chance of things not blowing up any further. And the primary thing that ZV was kind of like using those messages for is to be like, I can make this so much worse for you. And again, that whole parasocial component of like being way too invested was also a thing where that
Absolutely.
is
Yeah.
what ended up causing me to have the mental breakdown that is seen on that call.
Yeah,
Um,
you turning into the Joker and
mhm,
then you
yep.
spilling almost everything about, I don't know if it was everything, but like almost everything about your traumatic past, which I gotta say, info dumping to people online, especially in the commentary space about your personal life, is like the worst thing, because you never know who in the space is recording you without your permission.
Yep.
Because everybody's looking for one up on everyone. And
Well, and obviously, if you've listened to the full call, I literally have that moment where, and like, some people try to use this as like, I very much knew that he was going to use this and like was recording. Whereas I was word vomiting a shit ton and was not necessarily thinking about anything I was saying when I say like, yeah, are you trying to hide your OBS when he's like sharing screen? Like, you know, it does, regardless of whether I was word vomiting or not, it is just like such a little delightful piece of irony that I literally mentioned that, and that ended up being what happened.
so, future thought, if somebody's threatening you with exposing your opinions about people publicly, just make them public. Because fuck it.
Oh,
Like
I know, I know.
in the end, like that little bit of drama is going to be significantly less than that video.
Well, and here's the thing, none of this would happen today. Like, I have reached a point of not caring. I've reached a point of like, I've reached a point of not really giving a shit,
Right.
and kind of been slapped out of my parasociality. Um,
Good.
and you know, so I don't give a fuck if like my opinions of somebody come out. Okay. At the time, I was
Those
being very, very parasocial and retarded, and
so
cared
speaking
way too
of,
much about what other people thought of me.
mm-hmm. So one, I'm it's just wild. Man, another thing, the next time somebody calls you and they sound like they're on like, I don't know, a fast food microphone, just hang up. Their opinion
True.
literally doesn't matter.
True.
Nobody knows who ZV is in the wider commentary space outside of the guy who got you to spurg out on a call.
Yep.
That's
True.
because like I only was reminded when I was going over the stuff, because I literally only remembered him as Burger Shop Microphone, and that was it. I like
Yep.
did not know his name. Speaking of
Fair.
people who kind of caused this issue by you giving your opinion, uh the you and Moreau situation. One, Moreau, if you're watching this, yelling at people does not solve things. You're not Keemstar. You can't bully people into being better because you don't have the money in order to back up you being a dick.
Let's be honest.
Uh
He's not trying to make anyone better. He's not trying to make anyone better.
no, he's just trying to do everything for clout, which to be fair, he's running down the new Aiden thought process of getting famous when Aiden originally got popular for getting scammed by Chubbs in 20 whatever, I can't remember. Like he was 12. He was 12 years old. Aiden got popular because he got scammed at 12 years old, and Keemstar like shouted him out. There you go. For anybody who don't, so Moreau gets his opinions from Aiden. Aiden gets his opinions from Keem and Augie. Like that's how Augie Aiden formed who he is as a debater from things like Destiny, Keem, and Augie. Then Moreau's coming in and basically being like the spurgier version of Aiden. Tell me I'm wrong.
I guess.
You
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you watch any of Aiden's debates and then you watch any of Moreau like having a disagreement with anyone, they basically have the same thought process of be loud and be disrespectful as a way to get the other person to shut up so you can say your statement.
I am admittedly much more biased against Morale, so it's
That's
harder
valid.
for me to necessarily agree with that.
I'm more neutral because outside of my one interaction with him was funny, but outside of that, I've only ever seen what he posts publicly. Oh, what's been posted publicly about him. I don't know any of the behind the scenes.
Well, he's the reason. I mean, almost all of my bias against him is public stuff, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
Like him being the reason that people say that I faked my rape, stuff like that.
I don't. I understand.
You don't know about that?
Well, no. I know he said that. I definitely do because our friend definitely that was a part of the reason why he reached out to me saying I should talk to you, because he remembered my old content and knew that I generally stay neutral no matter how much of a fan I am of somebody's content. Because really, in the end, it's not for my interpretation of your words; it's everyone else's.
Sure.
But yeah, I did hear about that. It sucks, but again, he really should get checked on not trying to rip into that stuff, because it's not like you're trying to make that your whole brand talking about those kinds of stories. It was something that you didn't expect to be public, then ended up becoming public information.
Okay. Let's back up a second.
Unless there's other things I don't know, because again, I am 2 months back into this space.
Yeah. Let's back up a second though, because that's just not actually the context. So the context is that
rewind.
In my Mom Max video, I made an unlisted video talking about my rape stories. Now, the reason that I did that at the time was because I was not very much involved with the commentary community. I was rather just kind of on the fringe of things and making videos. And one of Max's biggest things is that he would tell CSA survivors that there was a proper way to react and an improper way to react, which I don't believe in at all. And Max hasn't been through any CSA stuff himself. And so my brilliant emphasis on the sarcasm there idea at the time was to be oh, well, I'll fucking talk about that stuff in just an honest way and help people kind of loosen the stigma a little bit and understand that it's not this scary thing, and that there's not a particular way that you have to react to it, and you're still a valid survivor however you react. And I will say in the moment it was absolutely worth it. There were people who reached out to me privately who said some very kind things, and not in support of what I had said, but more just being hey, you saying this made me feel better about what I've been through, and it made me feel like I can talk to different people about this. And it's dude, that's fucking awesome. So at the time, it contextually made sense to me. And that was the only intention behind it. I also have been I've been very transparent about it. Because of the fact that, again, I don't think it should be something that's stigmatized. I want to make sure that people understand that they can always reach out to anybody about that kind of stuff, especially, and I think it's very important when it comes to survivors of sexual abuse, that people feel like there is some kind of sense of community within the survivors, and that they feel like they can that they're not alone, because that's one of the biggest things, is this alienation and sense of loneliness that comes with it. So just to kind of correct the record, it isn't something that wasn't public. It was public. It just got very...
I didn't know that. So
it just got very fucked.
Yeah. I think that maybe trying to prove that someone's actions, that someone's trauma didn't happen, is a wild statement.
Well, so and the other thing was,
you had to go through that.
No, it is what it is. The other thing was that's kind of hilarious is that he multiple times on both Aiden's stream and the Flatley stream tried to argue that like me as an 11-year-old should have known to say no to the advances on my first rape, which is just like he's circuitously basically saying that 11-year-olds understand consent.
Yeah.
Which is just like,
oh,
buddy,
that hurts my brain. Oh god, that was by my reaction you saw, that was news to me.
Yeah. So
I was like, what?
You know.
Soul Skibbity.
Okay, wait, real quick, before we move on from this, just one more thing, because
Absolutely.
I think it's fair to just bring up in context. So the other thing was that he, quote unquote, jokingly, made up a name named Sarah Ridden out of nowhere and claimed that I raped her in middle school.
I saw
he
that.
did this. Yeah, he did this during Flatley stream, and it was interesting because he did not make it clear in any way that it was a joke on Flatley stream. However, as soon as Beckett's stream happened, which is now members only, he clarified that it was a joke. So if you only watched Flatley's stream and didn't understand Morale's like sense of humor, quote unquote, you would think that was a serious allegation against me. And you know, and when I say you, I don't mean everyone would, because I do recognize that there are a good amount of people who would recognize that was just bullshit. But let's be honest, we're in a community full of fucking retards, okay? And so there is a strong chance that there would be some people who would genuinely believe that.
Absolutely, yeah.
And so, you know, I just want to put that out there for context's sake.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know that there was a members only stream where it was clarified that was a joke.
Yep.
So next person, Soul Skibbity. Your reaction to his streams about him streaming about you and like him bringing up you your reaction to you commenting under one of your AWT co-hosts, and like even I understood that you guys are co-hosts, but I didn't watch any AWT until last night. Even like that's how naive I've kept myself since I got told I was gonna get to talk to you. Is I was just like, maybe I only go in with the information about the situation without any decision on whether or not you're a good person until I've spoken to you, kind of thing. Like I felt like that was a more neutral way of coming about it, because if I dug too much into you, I might get a want to more protect you rather than have you speak the truth.
Sure.
Kind of thing in a situation. So how do you feel about how Soul Skibbity like dealt with his stream and your reaction to it, and you asking for your quote 17-year-old lawyer to come in and talk to them about it? You tweeted out something. I don't know if the guy was 17. That's what they said in the stream when you added him.
Yeah, I'm sure they did.
So and so. Yeah, that's what him and Moreau said.
Yeah, they're gonna do whatever. I mean, like, I think I barely know Domino. I like speak to him on occasion. He literally said like, fucking tag me and like get me to call in and like I'll troll. And I was like, okay, sure. Because look, those tweets in the first place, I mean, I don't know if you saw the original tweet where I called them my scorned lovers and tag all of them. Like,
I did not.
If you look at it, okay, if you look at that tweet on its face, try telling me that it's not a fucking like clear rage bait faggotry, okay? Like, sorry, I don't know if I can say that on this, but like,
I don't care. I'm not gonna.
Okay, good. Like, dude, I literally worded that in a way to like try to be as much of a faggot as possible, because the context was I had just started my new job and I had about 2 hours between eating dinner with some friends and getting out of my job, and so I wanted to just like be a retard and troll on Twitter. Now, the problem was, did it by the end come off as not ironic? Yes. Yes. However, like, I was just laughing the whole fucking time. I did not give a fuck about what any of them thought the entire time. Like, even to this day, when you're asking me that, it like kind of caught me by surprise, because it's like, I didn't even know that people thought that that was a thing. Like, not on my end, but just like thought that was something that is even warrants like being spoken about more, because it's just like one of those things where like I think even people like Morale and Solskivity would acknowledge that like the liking of the tweet and all that stuff was like, and me replying to it was just fucking retarded, and it was them messing around in the first place.
So speaking of AWT, and you're everyone's freaking out about you replying to one of your co-hosts' thirst posting.
Yep.
I mean, that was really what she did, and you should have. And like, no shame. Get your bag. I don't care that that's what that girl was doing, but like, you knew that there was a chance that if any of those motherfuckers followed you and saw you comment under there, it was gonna be like news.
I mean, to be fair, no, I didn't. Like, just being completely honest,
Okay.
no, I didn't. I never thought that people would like be that retarded and like actually like be that desperate for something that they would like make news out of that.
Well, I mean, you were still news to them, so anything you did at that point was news. Whereas there's
Fair.
still, to this day, there are some people who will bring me up because to them I'm still relevant, even if I'm not relevant to everyone else.
So my point would be that like I understand what you mean, but at that point it was also retarded to me that like if they made news about it, which they did, I was gonna treat it as retarded as it was. You know what I mean?
Nick, so I have no issue with Nick Diorio, but I'm going to tell you one thing. Years after all of the drama, me walking away, I completely pivoted to Twitch. I started working at an org. When I got announced to working at that org, 3 years after the drama, by the way, Nick quote tweeted it and got everyone in the commentary community knowing that I was working there. So trust me, when I tell you that you are news and to these people until they decide you're not news. Do I agree with it? Not completely. Do I understand it from their perspective? Yeah, you're like their lolcow. You're their drama. You're their guilty pleasure. You're like how Boblax is for Chud and Augie now.
Sure. But my whole point was that like it was so retarded that I was going to laugh at it and point at how retarded it was.
Absolutely.
And I knew that by making that, I also knew by making that super moral faggy tweet that I would get, like, things would blow up. That tweet has like 8K views, okay? The tweet that I made. Like, it fucking exploded. And, like, if you look at that tweet, I genuinely would love for you to, like, try to tell me that it's serious, because it is so obvious. I literally tagged Soul Skivity and Morale. Okay, like I am clearly like picking a retarded fight. Okay, like oh my god.
So I'll say that this last thing, and this last thing is only being brought up because I don't know if you realize that 8 or 9 days ago, the other person who you recorded an interview with, I'm just gonna get out there. It's Kinetic Hell. She had posted a, like 4 or 5 days ago, she posted a a trailer. And then what was it, like 3 days ago or something, she was in Nick's stream saying, hey, I'll leak it to you, because she wanted Nick's attention. I don't really care. But did you realize that a few days prior to that, she had posted a video with like Soul Skivity and Beckett and like Matt Pitt like talking about you whatsoever and like going over the L that you took? Yeah, there's a whole video.
Not only I've seen it now.
Okay, cool.
But before we had recorded the interview, apparently the video had come out the day before, and she literally said to me the other day in DMs, she was like, well, yeah, like the video had come out the day before. And, like, I was figuring that you would have watched it before. I was like, dude, what? You didn't tell me that it came out. Like, why would I have... I'm not just, like, sitting there, like, refreshing your fucking... Like, what? So, apparently, like, she expected me to have seen it. Whereas I had not seen it by the time our interview happened. There is factually incorrect information in that video. that I am currently working out with Kel to correct.
Okay. I'm glad you guys are in talks.
Yeah, I will say I'm really not impressed or happy right now, but
do you know if she's going to
it serves me right. It serves me right for fucking trusting these stupid retards in this community.
Are you is she going to release the interview that she did with you? Yes or no?
Yes, she better. She better. And she better release it in full too. Because if she doesn't, I'm going to.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not editing this at all, so I'm not even going to mute you saying anything that you said because I don't care. I don't have monetization on my channel, so there's nothing for them to demonetize. Whoop-de-doo. And the only thing I'm going to do is I'm just gonna get a thumbnail. This will probably be out. I want to say my goal is to get this out before New Year's, if not on New Year's Day.
Great.
But I'll let you know. You'll be the first person to know that it's getting posted. Yeah, but the last thing I will say is last night I did call into Now Recording. And I did that more because I was not going to bring you up. I was bringing up, I talked in the chat and some people knew me and some people didn't. And so I was just like, I just sat in their VC and they're waiting to call in thing. And I was just watching them. And then I just said outwardly to Xylee and Beckett, hey, I'm talking to somebody who you guys at one point had an issue with. I'm going to be doing a video with them tomorrow. I'm going to be recording it. And when I said your name, Himpleton, they were like, he's not going to record with you tomorrow. I'm like, I literally say in that stream, so you can go back, that I'm very neutral, that we are not friends, but I have no issue with you. I'm just a neutral party who's recording a video. I wonder
why they thought I wouldn't record with you.
Probably because they thought that you were, because somebody was talking about the fact that they were recording something with you, that you might back off then, because we had not yet recorded. And I said, oh yeah, we're recording tomorrow. And they're like, oh, he's probably not. So like, now you know my interpretation of like me waiting for this to be recorded today. Like, why I was just like, after a while, I was just thinking in my head, I'm like, man, I really.
Oh yeah, you probably thought that I was gonna like fucking skirt you. Oh yeah, fuck.
Because I'm like, okay, I woke up at 9. You woke up at 10 for me, and then like I was just like, okay, you're like, what? The night before, you're like, yeah, when I wake up we can record, and then I'm like 2-3 hours later, you're like, I'm just
and then I had all this
now.
stuff to do. Yeah, yep.
I was like, damn, man.
No, I totally feel that. No, I'm sorry for taking a while, by the way.
It's absolutely fine, and I'm really glad we got to do this. If you have anything at all that you would like the community to know past the topics I brought up, now's your time. I'm not going to talk unless I have something to say over to something, but outside of that, I'm just going to let you freeform whatever you want to say to the entire community.
Sure, I appreciate that. Yeah. I've won 2 Spurgies. You're welcome for the entertainment. And yeah, my videos, if they happen to be about commentary stuff, then they will be, but I'm not going to be a commentary YouTuber. So, you know, that's the rub. That's the rub, ladies and gentlemen. And you know, if you wanna, let me just clarify this for the sake of people who will inevitably ask me. If you ask me to be on a live stream and it's about drama, I'm not coming on. If you are one of the people who I am not on the best terms with, and you want to have a call with me, I'm not doing that unless there's a third party there to have it be a fair interview. I'm going to be very, very, very clear about that. And whatever, I'm going to be joining like some streams to not talk about drama, to just hang out. Like I do still have people that I associate with in the community that I enjoy hanging out with. And other than that, though, I'm just going to be doing my 2 little podcasts I'm on, and that's going to be the extent of my involvement around here. I mean, I will say if I just like fuck around, it's almost definitely going to be as a viewer and not as a fucking participant. So like
Absolutely, I understand.
I am a
popcorn eater at the commentary drama. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, I hope not to. I hope I'm not saying anything out of. I don't know if I'm not saying anything bad here, but like I have been a member of Augur FC for 30 months. Okay, and that is something that is probably not going to change for me. Okay, like that is
valid.
That's always been my guilty pleasure, is watching Augie. I fucking love that guy. And
I have no ill will or ill intention against anybody in the commentary community. I'll be real with you, dude. Part of the reason why I'm doing this for you is so that way hopefully you don't get 5 years of those people's communities showing up to harassing you to do when doing stuff.
Yeah.
So that's fair. I'm gonna be real with you. I had a bunch of fears coming into this because again, I didn't speak to you until we got into this call verbally. Yep. I wasn't sure if you were going to spurg out while I was bringing up topics. I was just like, man, some of these topics are really rough for him emotionally. So like if I bring them up and he spurgs out, I need to be prepared to dip out. If you started yelling at me, I was gonna hang up and drop the call immediately, as is, no thumbnail, and just be like, here you guys go. Yep. Fuck it, I'm done. And that's being honest, because like I'm not here to get yelled at. I'm not here to yell at you. I don't care enough about the online space. I just felt like it was the reason why I do the videos I do, the commentary, the reason why I do the conversation with is just to give people voices, or for people to be seen as people rather than their content or their spurgs or whatever, because like people are just that. You're human after all. Indeed. You're not a program. Like people need to understand that you actually have emotions and stuff. But I was worried that you were gonna yell at me because I didn't know you. I don't know you. So
my reputation absolutely does like precede me, but I'm a lot less scary one-to-one than people think I'm gonna be.
Absolutely. My other thing was I thought that our mutual friend was trolling me and that I was just gonna get fucked with, and I was gonna end up on a stream of somebody like being like, haha, look at this, I fucked with Charmedskull kind of thing. So there was that yeah. Potential. But I'll be real with you. Perp did a great job in contacting me with you. I very much appreciate him coming in and even suggesting bringing you up to me, because I probably would have never spoken to you otherwise. Or
yeah, fair.
It probably would have taken me longer to make a new video for my channel too, because I was not sure what I wanted to put on here yet. So hopefully this helps you, and or at least doesn't hurt you, and people are able to hear your side and interpret as they will. I will say, if after this comes out, if people have questions or concerns or stuff like that, I would recommend tweeting or DMing you, correct, in order to get your interpretation of anything that they might have further questions on, maybe.
Yeah, sure, I'm an open book. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, I am even up to having a fair one-on-one interview with the people who don't like me, as long as there's a third party present to make sure that it's actually fair.
To make sure people aren't just yelling.
Exactly. So like I'm very open to this stuff. I'm not open to being made into content anymore, which is why I'm not going to be on any more drama streams. But open to actually having a discussion and clarifying anything that people are confused about.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay, with that, I'm ending the video.